I'd actually get a lot of sales by letting people go sometimes and being like, hey,
what are they wanting to do? Where are they going?
They are more interested in things that are a little less than perfect, right?
Hey, who are you as a person? And let that be their strength. Like, you have to deal with what's going on. There's feelings, there's emotions, there's raw.
Are you wasting your time and money on inefficiencies in the business? Are sales down and lead conversion rates are low? Are you having problems building or maintaining inventory levels? What does it really take to win in the automotive industry?
Get the cars that make sense for your store rather than just wishing at an auction. So it gives you that better control.
With over 25 years of experience, Darrell the Wolf Steed isn't just another industry voice. He's the guy who's out there solving real problems for dealers just like you.
They'll even say in the Pacific Northwest where you're at that it's a tougher market. It's, it's tougher to find cars. The market's a little bit softer. And in the midst of all this, your turn doubled and your profit's up 75%.
Yes.
The truth hurts only when it should. Are you ready to hear the truths? Darrell is here to unpack the hard truths and the proven strategies that will take your dealership from struggling to soaring. And he is taking it all in the streets, with real talk, open dialogue, unfiltered conversations. This is the podcast series, Street Smarts, powered by SmartWolf Consulting.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Street Smarts, powered by SmartWolf Consulting. And most of the time, you guys come on here and we're talking about the automotive industry and things that can help. But we like to switch it up, too, because when we know very fantastic, magical people doing magical things in the world, we want to make sure that we let everybody else know them. And I couldn't think of anyone better than my good friend Nicole, who is doing some things that, I'll be 100% honest, it is just magical to see. It's very cool. And it kind of bridges the gap into that experience for just the everyday person. And she did start in the auto industry, so we want to kind of get that unique perspective. But Nicole, thank you so much for coming on. Tell us what is going on, what's new, because from what I've seen, not only are you, a real life country star, but now you're an author of a couple different books, and I'm excited to hear about this. So welcome to the show. Tell us what's going on.
Oh, thanks for having me. That's so sweet of you. Yeah, it's been good. I was in the auto industry for, for a while, off and on for like 15 years. But obviously, doing creative stuff, you need like a full-time job. So that was my job while doing it all. But yeah, I'm a country singer-songwriter. I love writing music, performing. I, started out not really like doing music as an adult and kind of went through a life change, a divorce, and, honed in on that as my therapy and went from like never singing, playing in front of anyone to playing music festivals now. And it's, essentially a job for me, which is amazing to create like a passion from a job. And because I love writing, I just started writing books as well. I'm an auntie, so I decided to start with like children's books because I love my nieces and kind of inspired by them. So another like creative outlet for me.
So tell us a little bit about, so I saw the first book when it got posted that it's a book, but there's actually something music that like is tied into it.
Yeah. So I wrote a song for my nieces like a while back, kind of like the first EP I put out when I first started songwriting. And I never did any like videos or anything with it. It was just something special I did for my nieces. And when I decided to start doing children's book, I'm like, okay, what's kind of more of a simple concept? Well, a sing-along for something I already wrote. So I decided to do a coloring book, like a sing-along coloring book, horse themed. So my sister, her kids, they all ride horses. I grew up riding horses with my mom, my sister. So it's kind of a family thing. So I did like a horse themed sing-along coloring book where you can like scan the QR code and it'll take you to all different ways you can find the song. And then you also can like sing along while coloring, essentially.
That's really, really cool. No, I think it's great. And guys, if you don't know, when this airs, there will be the link. Because when she says she started out, she was just kind of singing. She's being very modest right now. She's fantastic. But She just came out with a music video that is like absolutely crushing. You would have thought that this is studio product. Like you would think that this is top 10 Billboard stuff. So we're gonna link that. We're gonna link that to this podcast because I think it was phenomenal, and I think we really need to give a thank you. Right? I think we really need to thank for whatever individual that messed up with you in your divorce and gave us this opportunity.
Yes. And you know what? It wasn't even my divorce. That was like 10 years, well, 8, 9 years ago. It's me re-entering the dating world with the shenanigans that comes along with dating apps and social media and just
Sure.
we're in. Whew, okay. Yeah.
But I mean,
yeah.
By taking a really so I've also been divorced. And so taking something like that is a life altering type of situation.
Totally.
And then understanding that you have to deal with what's going on. There's feelings, there's emotions, there's raw, and then channeling that into an outlet, right? For therapy, right? To get yourself mentally straight. That has now brought you into a forum to where we now get to see a different side of you, and one that, in all fairness, you were a great salesperson. You were great with customers, but I think we can all decide once they hear you and they know that. I think that we all know that you are a much better singer, and you're right where you need to be. So I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know sales. I could do it. I could handle it. I can relate to people because I think I feel like a non-salesy salesperson, and that really is truly who I am. I'm just like a people person. So I can make it work, but I can't say that I was that's naturally who I am to be a salesperson. Like being creative is so much more, my style. And I'm having an outlet when going through a divorce, a huge life change. I mean, this is something that most people don't know about me, but I didn't date for 6-7 years after my divorce. I literally went into music, business. How do I make this something that I can prove myself and show something for what I'm learning how to do? And, essentially that's how I got from freaking out to play 2 open mics in the beginning to playing for 13,000 people at a country music festival. And it just was really just kind of being zeroed in on something that I was super passionate about, that was directly something that fulfilled me and was taking me away from, focusing on a relationship or somebody else, but really bringing that back to myself, which is really important when you're healing from something.
Sure. Absolutely.
Really on loving yourself and then working in the car industry while doing that that was my bread and butter. That was my my way of paying for it all, because as an independent artist, it's not cheap. You're paying for everything yourself. Every music video, every song I recorded, whether it was here in Nashville, I paid for it myself. So
now I think that's interesting, right? Because what I would like to we're going to give very little intrigue into the auto industry, but since you did work there, is guys, I really want you to understand, right? People come from all different walks of life, right? And so you have somebody who, worked in the auto industry, and I'm going to hit 2 points here because they're really important, is worked in the auto industry because she wanted to pay for her dream, right? So instead of college, she wanted to pay and she wanted to get to where she wanted to be. And this was an avenue that allowed that to happen. So when you think about that is, what if it was an old school paradigm where she worked, and if she wasn't willing to be there 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, would she be where she's at now? Right. And so the reason I bring that up is it's really important when you know that people are doing other things or have other talents, or that you communicate and connect with your people, is what are they wanting to do? Where are they going? And how do you allow them to be successful for your store at the same time be successful for themselves? Right. That's a real admiration in today's business, because people might want to do one thing, but then they have a hobby, and it's do you allow them that balance so that they want to work for you, but they can do what they want to do, right? And then second, what she said about not being the typical salesy salesperson, I really want to hone in on that with you, Nicole, because I want you to kind of tell people a little bit about that. Is I will vouch for Nicole. I got to work with her. She is I'll be 100% honest. She's an angel walking the earth. She's one of the nicest people I know. And she laughs and she gets red every time I say this because she knows it's true. Is when you were just being yourself, how important music, sales, automotive industry, just people, how important is it that you're genuine and you can like that connection you get with people in order for you to actually have a real conversation, for you to like, do anything?
It's so important. I think that not only does it feel better within yourself when you're being genuine and truly who you are, but the other people can sense that, whether it be someone you're working face to face with, say within sales, they can sense if you're down to earth. They can sense if you're talking about your life, or if maybe your day's not going the best, you can, or their day's not going the best, you can be genuine and empathetic with them. It relates the same with music when you're performing, just being a real person. People have that gut feeling, that instinct when they feel like someone's not being super genuine with them, or they're just trying to make money or do their job and they don't really care about the person sitting across from them. And I think because I don't know how else to be other than like a people person, I'm also not pushy. So I'd actually get a lot of sales by letting people go sometimes and being like, hey, this is like no pressure. And people loved that, because you get taught in the sales industry, like, don't ever let them leave or be super aggressive. And that doesn't work these days as well as it used to. And so, especially in my experience, I got a lot of return customers when I would actually like be the best version of myself, be genuine, sit there, talk with them, give them their options, but be honest, listen to their financial woes, whatever was getting in the way of their decision. And if at the end of the day, they felt the need to walk out, I would let them, because I would say 85% of the time they would come back, and they would come back from another place that was not as genuine or didn't have the best intentions. And so I think just being a real person and listening to them. I mean, I would sit there and talk to people about their pets. I'm a dog person. I would talk about my music, just really getting to know them, show them a little piece of yourself, but also like listen to what they're all about and like the things they love,
No, it's interesting you say that, like if they would leave. Now, I know most dealers, as you guys watch this, you'll be like, oh my God, I'm so glad she didn't work for my store. I would kill her if these people leave, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, guys, I know I should be like the car guy and say like, how dare you? I 100% agree with it.
Yeah.
I 100% agree that when you do it right and you give the right experience, sometimes, not all the times, but sometimes you have to let them go, because some people really do need to think about it. They need this. Now, what I want you to really focus in on what Nicole said, though, because that's the missing component that dealers typically step over, or they don't understand about training people and getting them to have that empathy and then show a little bit of vulnerability, is when they go somewhere else and they get the 1980s boiler room bullshit, and they felt like that it's like a grimy car guy, like I have to put my hand on my wallet because I don't feel like it's not protected.
Yeah.
That is what you're hoping happens. Like, actually, you want that to happen. And this is why when you develop, and you find high value capital in way of people like Nicole, then they go somewhere else and you decided to hire the whatever was available. And then you give this boiler room experience. Consumers have now got to the point in today's industry, they would do business even at a higher amount with people they trust and showed empathy and vulnerability to than anyone. Now, if it's $3,000 different, probably not. They would deal with the crook just to get a better deal. But for a couple $100, it's seen time and time again. What's also seen, and I can vouch for this because one of the stores that the store that I worked with Nicole, I oversaw their buying center operations for many years. And that was actually one of my first deals. And I would see the CSI reports. I don't know that Nicole had a CSI issue ever. And so that also goes into the fact of dealers have a lot of things tied to CSI, right? In the new car aspect. And so you think about that. She's talking about her music. She's talking about dogs. She has this adorable golden doodle or some kind of doodle. I can't remember which it is, but it's adorable. Yeah. And now they go like, oh, she's just a regular person. So now I want you guys to close your eyes and I want you to think about this, right? Really visualize if you're talking to someone and you're buying a house, a car, or whatever. And you start talking to them and they talk about their music, and she's grinding up and talking about her road and how she's like really like boots to the ground. And then she's talking about this adorable dog, and she tells you where this came from, and she tells you the introduction she told us. Doesn't just a little bit about inside your body say, I want to buy a car from her just to help her out? Doesn't just something, I mean, unless you're a sociopath, okay, that's like, looking to like put the lotion on its skin type of thing. Like, don't you just immediately go, wow, because she's doing it, she shared that, she gave us a little bit of who she is. Like, I want to do business with her because I want to see her successful or not. I don't know. I'm going to lean to the fact that most people want to do business with people that they believe in, they like, they connect with. And so I think it's really important that we really strive to teach and allow our people to have those vulnerabilities, those connections, and not make it just about the number, right? You're really doing the education around, hey, who are you as a person? And let that be their strength rather than a weakness, right? Because I think it's one of those things that we just miss out on is we don't allow people to be who they are. And so now they're trying to sell a fake. They're trying to sell a fake persona. They're trying to put on, and you can tell, like you said, you can tell when it's not genuine. Like it just feels weird. It doesn't feel like there's ever a connection. It feels very dysfunctional, very fragmented. Now, when you were in the auto industry, and I mean, you didn't sell an easy brand. You sold Honda, which was, I mean, let's get real. There's in the NorCal area, I think there's 9 Honda stores and 40 miles. And outside of COVID, where let's get real, you didn't have to have any talent. You just had to say, sign here, press hard.
COVID
is like, so you just said, I have the car, congratulations. But is, with dealing with customers like that in affluent areas, what was like the biggest thing you learned that has now taken you on, like that you use now just on a daily basis in the automotive industry, like communicating and dealing with so many people?
Well, just consistency. I think consistency in any aspect of your life is going to create better results, right? So if you're consistent with customers, you're consistent with follow-up, you're consistent with, communication before and after a purchase, they're more likely to like remember your name. They're more likely to recommend you to people they know, and they're more likely to come back to you.
Sure.
Just kind of creating that rapport with them. Because COVID was a bit easier. And then once we came out of that, I was seeing just the challenges of like, we have all these salespeople trying to sell to pretty much all the same customers, and that whole dog world of like, within 3 days or, whatever our limitations were of like, if they talk to them and then you hadn't followed up, it's like all about staying in contact. So even if they're contacted by someone else at your dealership or someone else at a different dealership, they're going to go, oh no, like I really like Nicole. She's stayed consistent. She makes me feel comfortable. I'm going to stick with her. And they're going to be calling me going, hey, someone called me and I guess my lease is up or whatever it is. I want to work with you. So it's just all about consistency.
Now, something else I think that we can get a lot of education from you, because you kind of you're crossed over, right? You were in the automotive space and I'm in this music space. Mm-hmm. But I think there's something that actually crosses over between these two spaces. And I'd love to hear your insight about this is video. Like you record music. You have a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
And if I heard your songs just on which I have, okay, every time they come out, I download them. So
thank you.
You do video.
Yes.
Right. And I'd be interested to like get your insight to this. Like I preach that you should be doing video as a form of communication in the auto industry, because again, it allows that open up and vulnerability, connection, things of that nature. But why do you think video is so important in today, automotive industry, music and everything else? What does it do that other communication platforms don't?
So if you think about like what's huge right now, social media, TikTok, Instagram Reels, what is it? People are scrolling through videos. They're watching people do their dishes and they're sitting there watching or cooking a meal. It's that face-to-face like comfortability where you get to know somebody's voice, what they look like, and they're talking to you. And so that hits big with people now. So I think take it outside of entertaining, like say for me, for my music, they're seeing me sing the song or they're seeing someone talk to you, on a social media platform. But when it comes to sales, same thing. They hear your voice on a voicemail. That's one thing. That's helpful. That's better than a text, right? But if you have a video of yourself talking, that's adds like another level of getting to know you and putting like a face to the name.
Nope, I agree. I always told people, they're like, well, we have a picture. And I'm like, guys, when you have a video, now they see your voice, they see your body language, they see that like, now they know what they're getting. And what you said first, right, is when you're just your honest you and you do a video, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
It doesn't have to be now they get to see you, so they know like, okay, when this person comes in, I'm actually interacting. Like I get to see, feel, understand. Like it's almost like they're like you've made a virtual handshake. But more importantly, is they immediately start thinking about like, oh, she reminds me of my niece, my sister, my this, my that. And now they start to already create a connection that it's not there yet. They're starting to create it because they saw the body language, the energy, and the genuineness of what you're doing. Now, if you do a video for sales and you're like, hey guys, come on down. And it's like, okay, well, I hope that's what you're like in person because they're going to be really disappointed if this is some kind of like, hype video. And then when you get there, you're like, hey guys, nice to meet you. And they're like, where's the guy in the video? Oh, they made us do those videos. Like, don't be that.
Like, be yourself in the video. And it might take a second. It took me years to feel comfortable being on video for my music stuff, and also being more comfortable posting things or putting things out there that weren't perfect. And what I've noticed is that people actually, they are more interested in things that are a little less than perfect, right? That seem a little bit more human. That's what I feel like gets more interaction. So it's just you being like your genuine self, even if it means like that performative, type of video, like you're saying, that probably won't work as well, actually. So practice doing it.
It feels like you're trying to get me to do something rather than, like, for instance, I go live on my podcast. I go live on videos. I know I've watched you go live at some of your smaller venues when you're doing like the wine mixers. And it's now you're getting that like, and the only reason I'll date myself, it makes you feel a little bit of like that MTV Unplugged, like intimate. Like, because now it's like, wow, like even though you're in front of people and even though it's it's a one-on-one. Right. Like it's like, and so it's like, I'm in it with you, or I like that perception starts to happen. And I think it's really powerful. And I know with music is one of the most powerful things in the world. I mean, it's not even an argument. That is a fact. Yeah. But then you put music with a video so that they can see the dynamics of it and the story. Let's get real. It can change someone's life. It can change a moment. And so I think that's super powerful. And I think it's great that the auto industry, that you got to kind of take that auto industry and take a, very, how would you say it, unique industry, goods and bads, and learn from that to where now you're really propelling yourself to where you wanted to go and having that opportunity in a creative space, because the automotive industry, for nothing else, breeds creativity of good and bad things. Yeah. But the fact that you've been able to channel that and really succeed in the other side, I think that's great, because that's the best part about the auto industry. Is like, you don't know who you're going to meet. I anticipate, that I'm going to be able to say, I knew Nicole when she first started doing it, when she's on the Grammys. Okay. That's what I expect to happen. Then a few short years, I'll be like, I knew her when, because she's phenomenal. But it's like, wow, how many people out there are doing other unique things? And if you guys have been watching this podcast, I had a real life hero on, Dash Gordon. Same thing, right? He's in the auto industry, and he's providing a huge foundation to people that have disabilities, that are born with disabilities. And you have someone like Nicole. She used that footstool to where now she has a blossoming music careers. You just never know who you're going to meet in the industry, and how that connection can really happen. How you can foster that, and how you can help them get where they want to be. Right? Isn't that really what we are? Is we're an avenue where we can teach people. They help that business model, but then you get to see them get to where they want to be. Like, and then like you can say like, yeah, oh, she used to work for us. Great. Like, and they go, oh, she used to work at it, because they're going to come back to you. Mm-hmm. They're going to be like, I would imagine, even though you're no longer in the industry, you probably still get calls of asking people when they're ready, or like you've probably gotten text saying, hey, I'm looking to trade my car. And you're like, oh, I
got one today, actually.
I wish I could help you. Unfortunately, I'm not there anymore. And then what ends up happening, guys? And the reason I wanted to segue into this, because we don't have much time with Nicole, is so she gets this text today, and they probably want to trade her car in, or they're ready to turn in their lease, or whatever it may be. Is if you take care of your people and you treat them right, you don't treat them like a dirty, like it's just like, they're not a throwaway. They're valuable commodities to you. What is she going to do now when she gets this text? Is she going to go like this? Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, you don't want to go there. No, you know what she's going to do? If you took care of her, if you treated her right, you helped her and she helped you. She's going to say, you know what? I'm no longer there, guys. I'm actually doing this, and this. However, go ask for, I really trust them.
Yeah.
Right? Or this is the person I would refer you to. They'll take care of you just like I did. So keep in mind the employee, right? Especially when you find good people, right? It's just as important for you to make sure that you empower them so that when they move on to the next step or as they move up to the next step, they're always giving it back to you, right? It's a symbiotic relationship for life, and that's good and bad, right? If you treat people like they're not valuable to you, let me assure you, karma comes back full circle, and so you don't want to have that coming out the other way. Now, Nicole, in the as things go on, right? We're in 2025. You've got some really cool things going on. I don't want to tell you that I have put your name out to that fantastic event like 50 times. So don't be surprised if they call you this time.
I appreciate that.
My goal is to see you on that stage at a bare minimum, one way, one how, one other. So
that would be a dream.
What is coming up for you? Like, what is your big plans for 2025 and where can people see what you're doing?
So I think my goal right now is to really focus back in on creating. I think that's like my first love when it comes to music is songwriting. And I've had a lot of stuff go on in my life in the past, I'd say 2 years. It was like pretty impactful, to be honest. Like this past year of my life has probably been one of the hardest I've like ever had. And which it's a bummer, right? But the positivity that comes from that is like it creates something to write about. And I feel like the most I get inspired is when I'm like hurting or I'm going through something. So I want to get back into like releasing music because I haven't in the past 2 years released as much as I would like. I have released music. So that's like my main goal. I love performing. So we'll see what happens performance wise. We're kind of in the off season right now where it's a little bit slower, where I just want to go back in and, like you said, create things that people can fully like relate to, create really good quality, songs I can put out, but also videos that go along. So I have a few things in the works right now, but I also am going to go back into like writing more songs. So that's kind of like my goal at the moment with my music.
That's fantastic. And guys, as you watch this, trust me, you won't have to worry about how do you find her. All the links that you can imagine will be up on her YouTube and social media because I have them all. No, Nicole, I really want to thank you because, I love talking to interesting people. And from the first day I met you, obviously, it was great because you just had that high energy. And it was one of those things where when you understand having good people and building teams, it starts with those people that, one, are true to themselves, but are never, I guess you'd say it's selfless, right? Like you're always looking on how you can help the store and other people around you, even when they have their own story going on, right? Yeah. Like, so you could be dealing with issues or financial, and when you see somebody that puts that, like, I think we need to just give you your flowers of understanding, one, you're a great person, but when it came to that is like, you were always that person of like, hey, how do we make it happen? Right. And seeing your success now and seeing where you're going, I think that's just fantastic because it proves the point when you do the right thing, right? Whether people are looking or not, the right thing always happens, right? And so I'm hoping that we see more from the automotive industry to where it becomes one of these type of situations where, hey, if someone's working and they have something else going on, figure out how you foster that, figure out how you make that better, so that because that person's always going to be like, hey, this person gave me that opportunity, and not gave it to like, yeah, without them you wouldn't have done it, but it gave you the ability to do what you're doing, right? So it's like feedback. Yep. But I know that you have plans, okay, and you're on your tour bus getting ready to go out to big things, okay? I want to thank you for coming on, and hey guys, I'm going to put the links in here so that you can see her music videos, her music. Follow her, support her. But guys, just keep in mind, right? Take care of your employees and remember, right? Connection matters, right? And how we connect, video, consistency, right? I think Nicole said it best, is that consistency and connection. That's how you make the difference of how people want to do business today rather than the business from 20 years ago.
Yep.
Thank you guys again for coming and taking another listen and watching Street Smarts powered by SmartWolf Consulting. Nicole, hang out for just a second as we wrap
Right.
things up.